Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're diving into the world of FIRST.
Nurse.
Yeah. So it's FIRST. They're this global nonprofit, right?
Okay.
And they're using robotics to get young people excited about STEM.
Oh, cool. Like building robots. Yeah.
Exactly. We've had a lot of questions about this. It seems like you're interested in learning more about FIRST.
I am.
So we dug through their website, looked at all the material you sent us, going to bring you all the need-to-know info, and hopefully some inspiring stories along the way.
I love a good inspiring story.
Who doesn't, right?
So, are we talking about how to build a robot? Where do we start?
Well, before we grab the screwdriver and the soldering iron,
Okay.
let's talk about their mission, how their programs work,
Mm.
what kind of impact are they actually having?
Yeah, because it's got to be more than just building a cool robot in the garage.
Way more.
Right.
I mean, we're talking boosting college enrollment in STEM fields, empowering students to tackle real-world problems.
That's fantastic. I'm excited to dive in.
Me too. And you know what really stood out to me?
What's that?
Their tagline, more than robots.
Ooh, I like that. It's catchy, but it's also very true, right?
Right. It suggests there's a deeper message here.
Absolutely. It's not just about the mechanics and the programming. It's about what those things teach you along the way.
So how would you say this organization is shaping the next generation?
Well, for one thing, they're creating innovators, problem solvers, leaders, really well-rounded individuals.
And they do all that through robotics.
Well, it's the vehicle, right? But what's key is how they're combining that with their core values. Teamwork, problem solving, gracious professionalism, these are all woven into everything they do. So it's like learning how to win and lose gracefully.
Which is such an important life lesson, don't you think?
Absolutely. Especially in a competitive field like robotics.
So it's about more than just winning or losing, right?
Right. It's about the process, the learning, the collaboration, and those skills, they go way beyond the competition arena.
Okay, so let's rewind for a second. I feel like FIRST has been around forever.
Well, since 1989, to be exact.
Wow, really? Yeah, it was founded by Dean Kamen,
Wait, Dean Kamen, the Segway guy?
the one and only.
That's incredible. Talk about a legacy. But I'm curious, for an organization so closely tied to technology, how have they managed to stay relevant for so long? Tech moves so fast.
It's a good question, right? And I think it speaks to the strength of their mission. Plus, they've been really good at adapting to change. But it's really impressive when you think about their impact. Over 3.2 million students reach globally, teams in over 100 countries.
Over 100 countries. That's wild. So how did it all work? Do they have like a one-size-fits-all approach?
Not at all, and that's part of their success. They actually have a really cool system. It's like this carefully designed pathway, different programs for different age groups.
Because they meet kids where they're at.
Exactly, which just makes sense, right? You wouldn't teach a 5-year-old the same way you teach a 15-year-old.
That's true. So let's talk about those different age groups.
Okay, so you've got the youngest ones, the little builders.
Okay.
We're talking pre-K to 8th grade. That's adorable. What do they do, like build robots out of building blocks?
Pretty much. It's called First Lego League.
Oh, I love it. Legos.
Right. So they're using those Legos to introduce fundamental engineering and programming concepts, and they don't even realize how much they're learning. It's disguised as fun.
That's genius. What
Yeah.
comes after Lego League?
Well, once they've mastered those building blocks, they move on to First Tech Challenge.
What ages are we talking about here?
This is for grades 7 through 12.
Okay, so middle and high school.
Exactly. And this is where things start to get a bit more complex. The robots are bigger, the programming more intense, and they start working with metal and electronics.
Sounds intense. What else?
Oh, and here's the really cool part. They even get to incorporate autonomous elements into their robots, where the robots think for themselves.
Oh, wow, autonomous robots. Now that's next level stuff.
It is pretty cool, right?
That's like straight out of a sci-fi movie.
I know, but that's just the beginning, because then they have the first robotics competition.
Okay, so that's for back.
High school, grades 9 through 12.
So this is like the big leagues.
The big leagues. We're talking industrial-sized robots here. It's amazing.
Wow, industrial size. So like those massive robots you see in factories.
Exactly. These teams are working with real-world tools and materials. They have mentors from engineering fields. They even get sponsorships. It's basically a real-world engineering experience.
That's incredible. So it's not just kids messing around in their basements anymore.
No way. These kids are designing and building some seriously impressive machines. But it's not just about the building either.
That's what I was thinking. There's got to be more to it than that. It's about what they learn along the way, right? The skills they develop, the experiences they have.
100%. It really is. It's like Problem solving, critical thinking, learning to work as a team, how to bounce back from setbacks.
Resilience, so important, right?
Totally. These are skills that apply no matter what you do in life.
And let's be real. Those are the skills employers are looking for these days. It's not just about technical know-how anymore.
It's that whole package, those soft skills, the ability to communicate, to lead, and first, they're nailing it.
Speaking of leadership, one stat from the stuff you sent over really blew my mind. 83%
Oof.
of first alumni, they feel confident taking on leadership roles. It's huge. What do you think contributes to that?
I think it's that whole first experience. They're not just learning about robots, they're learning about themselves. It's pretty amazing to see.
It's like they're not just building robots, they're building confidence.
Right. And speaking of building, their academic track record is pretty impressive too.
Oh, tell me about it. I was blown away by that statistic. 81%.
Right. 81% of first alumni are declaring STEM majors by their fourth year of college.
It makes you wonder, are they just naturally drawn to STEM? Or does FIRST ignite that passion?
I think it's a bit of both. You're drawn to what you're good at and what you enjoy, and FIRST definitely makes STEM engaging and fun.
It's not just about the numbers, though, is it? It's about the personal stories, the aha moments, the sense of community that FIRST creates.
Totally. Like, remember Tania's story? Talk about inspiring.
Oh, Tania, the future engineer. She found so much more than just a career path through FIRST.
Way more. She found her voice, her confidence, her people.
It's incredible how often that comes up, right? Finding your people. Didn't Eduardo say something similar?
Eduardo? Oh, you mean the first robotics competition student from Mexico?
Yeah, him. He talked about feeling like he truly belonged, right?
Yeah.
It really highlights how FIRST creates this inclusive environment.
Absolutely. It's like no matter your background, your interests, your skill set, there's a place for you in FIRST.
Speaking of FIRST, I got to ask, what's it actually like at one of these competitions? Paint me a picture here.
Okay, picture this. A stadium packed with people, but instead of athletes, you've got these amazing robots duking it out.
Okay, so there's definitely an element of sport to it.
Oh yeah, it's high energy, lots of cheering, team spirit, but there's also this incredible sense of camaraderie, like everyone's there to support each other, even the teams they're competing against.
Really? So it's not just cutthroat competition?
Not at all. Don't get me wrong, everyone wants to win, but they also want to help each other succeed. It's this whole cooperation thing they talk about.
Cooperation. I've never heard of that. What does that look like in action?
So basically, you've got alliances, right?
Yeah.
Two teams paired up against another two teams, and they have to work together to score points. So even though they're ultimately competing, they have to collaborate to win.
That's so cool. So it's not just about who can build the most powerful robot. It's about strategy and teamwork and communication.
Exactly. It's like a microcosm of the real world, right?
Yeah.
Where you have to know how to navigate those complex relationships and work together to achieve a common goal.
And speaking of the real world, I'm curious about the challenges themselves. What are these robots actually doing out there on the field?
Well, it changes every year, which keeps things interesting. They have a new theme each year. One year, the robots might be shooting hoops. The next year, they might be stacking boxes or navigating obstacle courses.
Sounds intense.
Yeah,
How do they come up with these challenges?
I know, right? A lot of creativity goes into it. But the cool thing is, the challenges are always designed to mimic real-world problems. Like, there was one year where the robots had to work together to clean up a simulated oil spill.
Wow, that's amazing. So not only are they learning valuable STEM skills, they're also being exposed to these real-world issues.
Exactly. And they're learning how to apply their skills to make a difference. It's pretty inspiring.
It is. Okay, last question before we move on. With all this focus on technology and engineering, is there any room for, creativity, artistic expression?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, FIRST encourages it. Teams often incorporate creative themes, elaborate costumes. They even choreograph dances with their robots. It's amazing.
Wait, robot dances?
Oh, yeah. Some teams get really into it. It's incredible. It's all part of the fun, right? Expressing your team's personality, making it your own.
I love that. So it's not just about building a robot, it's about building a brand and a community.
And a community. That's a great point. Because that's what really sets FIRST apart, the incredible community they've built.
And that community extends beyond the students. Right, we've got the mentors, the volunteers, the sponsors.
Exactly. It's a whole ecosystem of people who are passionate about STEM and about supporting the next generation of innovators.
Speaking of mentors, we haven't talked much about their role. What can you tell us about the impact they have?
Oh, mentors are essential. They're the ones guiding the teams, sharing their expertise, offering encouragement. But it's more than that. They become role models, confidants, almost like family.
It sounds like they play a huge role in creating that supportive environment we were talking about.
Absolutely. And the mentors, they come from all walks of life, too. You've got engineers, teachers, even former first participants themselves coming back to give back.
That's so cool. It's like this beautiful cycle of mentorship and inspiration.
It really is. And it just goes to show FIRST is more than just a program, it's a movement. It's about changing the world one robot, one student, one mentor at a time.
I love that. So we've talked about the students, the mentors, the competitions, but what about the impact? What happens after these students graduate from FIRST? What kind of mark are they leaving on the world?
Oh, they're doing amazing things. I mean, we've already talked about the high percentage who go on to pursue STEM careers.
Right, 81% if I remember correctly.
Exactly. But beyond that, they're also becoming leaders in their fields. They're starting their own companies, developing new technologies, tackling some of the world's biggest challenges.
That's incredible. Do you have any examples, any specific stories that come to mind?
Oh, tons. There's this one young woman, she was part of a FIRST team in high school, and now she's developing low-cost prosthetic limbs using 3D printing technology.
Wow, that's amazing.
Right. And then there's this other guy, he was on a FIRST Tech Challenge team, and now he's working on a project to bring clean water to remote villages in developing countries.
These stories are incredible. It really shows the power of FIRST to inspire real change in the world.
It does, and that's why I'm so passionate about this organization, because it's not just about the robots, it's about empowering young people to believe in themselves, to dream big, and to make a difference.
Speaking of dreaming big, one of the things I find most exciting about FIRST is their commitment to diversity and inclusion.
Oh, absolutely. They've been very intentional about making sure that STEM is accessible to everyone, regardless of their background, their gender, their socioeconomic status.
Which is so important
Hmm.
because we need diverse voices, diverse perspectives to drive innovation and solve the complex problems we're facing.
Exactly. And FIRST gets that. They're creating a space where everyone feels welcome, everyone feels valued, and everyone has the opportunity to succeed.
And that's what makes me so optimistic about the future. Because when you empower young people from all walks of life with the skills and the confidence to pursue STEM, imagine the possibilities.
The possibilities are endless, and that's what FIRST is all about, unlocking that potential, fostering that love of learning, and inspiring the next generation of innovators and changemakers.
And speaking of inspiring the next generation, let's talk about First Risism. This program sounds incredible.
It is. You know, taking all that STEM goodness and channeling it toward real-world problem solving, how cool is that?
It's amazing. And I love that they partnered with Star Wars. Force for Change. It's such a perfect fit.
Right. It's like they were destined to collaborate. You've got this beloved franchise that celebrates imagination, bravery, and using your strengths for good.
It's like they're saying, look, if Rey can face down the First Order, you can use your STEM skills to tackle climate change.
Exactly. It's so empowering. And the best part, we've seen FIRST teams actually doing it. Designing prosthetic limbs, developing sustainable energy solutions, creating apps to address mental health issues. It's mind-blowing.
It makes you wonder, what are they going to come up with next? What problems will they solve? What will they build? It's exciting.
It really is. And that's the beauty of FIRST. It's not just about the here and now, it's about the future. It's about planting seeds of curiosity, nurturing a passion for STEM, and empowering these young people to believe that they can change the world.
It's really incredible to think about the ripple effect, right? Like starting with one student, one robot, one competition.
And then it just grows from there. It's like this whole chain reaction of inspiration and innovation.
Exactly. And speaking of competitions, we've talked about the technical stuff and the core values, but what's it actually like to be there in the thick of it? What's the vibe like?
Oh man, it's electric. Imagine the energy of a championship game, but instead of athletes, you've got these incredible robots battling it out. The crowd is going wild.
Sounds intense, but also, I imagine, super inspiring.
Oh, totally. There's this feeling of excitement, this sense of possibility in the air. And the coolest thing is, even though it's a competition, everyone is so supportive of each other. Like you'll see teams cheering each other on, even helping their competitors troubleshoot problems with their robots.
Wow, that's amazing. So it's not just about winning at all costs.
Not at all. It's about pushing the limits of what's possible, learning from each other, and celebrating each other's successes.
I love that. It's like a true testament to the power of collaboration, which, let's be honest, is a skill that's often overlooked. especially in today's competitive world.
100%. And that's what makes FIRST so special. It's teaching these kids that we can achieve so much more when we work together.
Which brings us to First Rise as a Stelling, a program that really embodies that collaborative spirit.
Right. Using your STEM skills to tackle real-world issues, it doesn't get much cooler than that.
And the fact that they've partnered with Star Wars, Force for Change, talk about a match made in heaven.
Seriously, what could be more inspiring than harnessing the Force for good? I mean, who doesn't love Star Wars?
It's brilliant. You're tapping into this universally loved franchise with its message of hope and resilience, and you're showing young people that they can be heroes too.
Absolutely. And the best part is, it's not just a fantasy. First teams are out there right now making a real difference in the world. We're talking about students designing prosthetic limbs, building water filtration systems, creating apps to combat climate change.
It's incredible. It makes you wonder, what's next? What will they think of next?
The possibilities are limitless. And that's the beauty of the first. It's not just about the robots, the competitions, the technical stuff. It's about igniting a spark, a love of learning, a belief that anything is possible. And with that foundation, who knows what these young people will achieve?
It's truly inspiring. Well, we've covered a lot of ground today, from the history and structure of FIRST to the personal stories and the incredible impact this organization is having on communities all over the world. So, as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one thing you hope our listeners take away from our conversation?
That's a tough one. But if I had to pick just one thing, it would be this. Never underestimate the power of curiosity. If something piqued your interest today, even just a little bit, don't ignore it. Explore it. Check out FIRST's website, reach out to a local team, talk to someone who's involved. You never know where that curiosity might lead you.
So well said. It's a reminder that learning is a lifelong journey, and it's never too late to discover a new passion or find your tribe.
Couldn't agree more.
Well, on that note, it's time for us to sign off. Thanks for joining us on this incredible deep dive into the world of FIRST. Keep asking questions, keep exploring, and until next time, keep that spark of curiosity burning bright.